Wanted to ask you the question because you have a lot of expertise with working with and as a public health consultant. What's the most important thing public health consultants need to do to thrive without overwhelm?
Yeah, it's a really, really good question. I think public health consulting is just like any other entrepreneurial venture. You're building something for yourself, you're building yourself a business, and the business aspect of things is not something we're trained as public health professionals. It's something that we have to learn. And it can feel so overwhelming to figure out where you need to go, what you need to do, how to build your business. So the number one thing I actually would tell people, and the most important thing I would tell people, is to get very clear on why are you becoming a public health consultant? Like, what is that purpose? So what is that difference between having a job as a public health employee and becoming your own boss and your own entrepreneurial, building your own entrepreneurial business? Getting very clear on that will help you essentially weed out the tasks that are not necessary, because you can get lost in the big shiny object syndrome where you feel like you have to show up at every conference, you have to be at every event, you have to do speaking engagements, you have to post content, you have to do this, you have to do that, because all of that is peripheral to the actual content that you want to create as a consultant when you get those opportunities. So getting very clear on why you want to become a consultant, and then very clear on which things you think will help you get closer to that really helps you eliminate the overwhelm. And also just setting goals for yourself, like not trying to do everything all at once, but really being clear on what you're going to do in each quarter, what your focus is on each quarter, and just learning that it takes time. It's not something that's done overnight. You're not going to, build a successful business in 6 weeks or 6 months. Like, it's going to take some time, and just trusting the process and just staying consistent to the process, I think, is key.
And as a three-time founder, what kind of advice do you wish you had before you started your businesses?
I think what I just said, because I definitely, when I started, I always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I always knew I wanted to do something a little different. And when I started I had a podcast, and it was called "How Did You Learn to Do That?" And I was interviewing people on how they learned to do whatever it is they were doing, and I just generally am curious about people. But through that, I started to actually do career coaching for early career professionals, and then now I work with public health consultants, newer public health consultants. And the biggest thing, that the difference I've noticed in as I've progressed in all the businesses I've built, is being very intentional. I know we hear about this thing around working less, and making more, and having more impact. That was a concept that I didn't quite understand. I was like, you do have to put in a lot of hours. You do have to keep working to make the impact and whatnot. But that's actually what I've learned is not the case. You just have to be super intentional in what you want to do, what you want to build, but also around your lifestyle, right? We don't become entrepreneurs because we want to work 24/7. We become entrepreneurs because we want to make an impact. We want to build a lifestyle for ourselves that complements what it is that we want to do, and just making sure that you're able to keep those two things at the forefront and build according to that, and just being authentic to yourself and authentic to who you are. And the other piece that I would share is just learning your niche. I know niching is this thing we always talk about, and everyone's heard about it, but it's not something that we understand how to do very easily as new entrepreneurs. And I think once you learn your niche and you focus on that, it really makes a huge change.
Lots of great pieces of advice there that I feel like anyone can take and apply. But I think to your point of like just being intentional and being clear on like what are your goals, and then taking steps towards those goals, because many times we do things that aren't really moving us towards those goals, but are taking up time in our day. And I also like the part of you highlighting like lifestyle business and like lifestyle design, I guess, because yeah, we many of us think about entrepreneurship, want to shift into entrepreneurship, but not to get a job that's working 70 hours a week per se, but trying to figure out how do we create a business that can mold to whatever that lifestyle looks like for us.